Hello, Oliver James here, and welcome back to another video. And today I will be giving my reactions to the championship table, how each team finished and where they are going from there, and what is next for next season. And for next season, I will be giving my predictions to to the Premier League, Championship, League One, and League Two tables, which I haven't done before, so I will do. But I just thought I would give my reaction to the tables and where they all finished. And before I get into the video, please give the video a thumbs up and please subscribe to the channel. You can comment in the comment section down below on how you think all the other clubs in the championship did and what you think is next for them next season, and also who do you think will win in the playoffs and be the last team promoted to the Premier League. So without any further ado, let's get into it. We will start at the bottom of the table, which was Sheffield Wednesday. You know, they did have a point deduction. They had minus 6 points at the start. So if they didn't have that, they would have been firmly safe. And Derby County would have been relegated instead. But Sheffield Wednesday finished bottom on the final day because they drew to Derby County, and they finished bottom. You know, 3 points off it, 3 points off the bottom, and they would have stayed up. Derby would have been relegated if Sheffield Wednesday had won, but it ended 3-3. But there could still be a major twist yet in this relegation battle. Well, in the relegation thing, I mean, the season's over, but there could still be a huge twist, which I will get into. 23rd in the table was Rotherham. They were one of two clear favourites to get relegated. They didn't have the squad, they didn't have the budget or anything to stay in it. They finished just only 2 points off safety. I mean, it went down to the final day on Saturday, you know, and Rotherham drew 1-1. You know, so they were majorly unlucky to have gone down as well. So they are back in League One next season, where they will be up against the likes of Bolton Wanderers, Portsmouth, who didn't achieve a playoff place, potentially Sunderland. They are definitely going to be up against teams like Wigan, Ipswich, Charlton. You know, some cracking games. 22nd is Wycombe Wanderers. They were clear favourites to get relegated, and they did, only by a point, despite winning. Despite winning 3 of the last 4 games. If they hadn't lost 2-1 to Cardiff City, they would have stayed up. They would have actually stayed up. But, you know, all that draw to Swansea, and they would have actually stayed up. But they were unlucky. You know, they were bottom for most of the season, you know, but they were majorly unlucky. They finished the season well, and unfortunately they are back in League One next season. So hopefully they can then maybe bring in a few, maybe like a couple of players who know how well Wycombe did last season. And they think, well, man, bring in a couple more. You stick around for that one season. If we go straight back up again, boom, we could be there. 21st, Derby County. It was that late 3-3 draw that saved them, you know, managed by Wayne Rooney. They should be a team fighting for like playoffs or like around there, not finishing 1 point above relegation. But obviously the EFL won a battle again, has won a court thing against them where they could still be deducted points. And if that is the case, will it be deduct them points off this season, which is just finished, which means that they would go down, or will you deduct them points for the start of next season, just like with what happened with Sheffield Wednesday, who did actually have a 12-point deduction, and then it went down to 6 points. So yes, so that's an even bigger credit to Sheffield Wednesday, just to say. 20th, Huddersfield. They were on a mere run of form. That 4 games they went without a win, and they stayed up by 6 points. But you know, and I remember them being in the Premier League not so long ago, so their decline is it's quite staggering, really. So I don't predict them to go down next season unless they can make some good wholesale changes, really. 19th, Bristol City, one of the shocking teams in the thing. They They did not win a game since the 13th of March. That was 10 games where they didn't win, picking up 3 draws in that time, losing all the rest. They started the season incredible. They were top. I think they won 6 from 6. You know, they've got rich owner, great history, good fans. They had all right players, but for some reason, final 10 games of the season, they only picked up 3 points, which was shocking to say the least. But 19th, yeah, they stayed in there. 18th, Birmingham City. They were down virtually towards it. Then they sacked Aitor Karanka and brought in the former Charlton manager Lee Bowyer, and he actually transformed them. You know, they went on a decent run of form when he came in. You know, and they lost their final 2 games, 4-0 and 5-2. But that's still nothing to say the least. I think next season they might get better from 18th and maybe go towards mid-table. 17th, Nottingham Forest. And like I said earlier, I do think that this is a hangover from last season, where they were in the playoffs virtually all of last season. You know, they were virtually there. The final day of the season, they lost and they missed out on the playoffs, and I reckon that has played on their minds because they finished 17th. A team like Forest as well, who were virtually in the playoffs, top 7 last season, and then they dropped down to 17th. That is just quite remarkable. Remarkable. 16th was Coventry City, a team who came up. They've done incredibly well to finish where they have finished 12 points above relegation. I was expecting them to be a lot lower, to be fair. I wasn't expecting them to be higher than teams like Derby County or Nottingham Forest, or be a point or two off teams like Blackburn and that. But they've done incredibly well, and I feel that they can maybe push on from this, or maybe stay around where they are. I don't see them going down in the immediate future unless like something drastic happens. 15th place is Blackburn Rovers. Again, a former Premier League team who should be doing better than finishing 15th. They can score goals. They scored 65 goals, but they did also leak 54. They had Bradley Dack, who was fantastic. Ben Verreeten, Adam Armstrong on loan from Liverpool. Harvey Elliott was a sensation. They had all that going forward, but then at the back they were leaking goals, and they ultimately finished 15th. If they can keep Armstrong, Dack, maybe Verreeten, and tighten up on that defence next season, they will be up there next season without any shadow of a doubt. Maybe same with the teams who have gone down. Maybe Sheffield United hopefully want to bounce back up. West Brom might do. Fulham, I think, might do under Scott Parker. But, you know, it's unfortunate they are going back down again. But still, 14th, another decent Premier League team for a long time. Stoke City, 14th. They've not really had the best of times. You know, before the last day of the season, they hadn't won in 6, which was a drastic downfall for them. If they had won them, then they would have been up towards playoffs. They would have been higher than the 14th where they finished. 13th was Preston. They were actually up and around there were Preston North End, but you know, they won 4 games on the spin. They are unbeaten in the last 5. You know, I do think though. I mean, even if they had beaten Stoke, then they would have at least gone up to in the top 12 at least. But next season they might push on. 12th, Luton Town. Of all the teams to be 12th, it's Luton Town. No one was expecting them to be where they were. Okay, yeah, man. They only lost 1 of their final 7 games, and that was on the last day of the season. They cemented their place in 12th. They had a fantastic season for them to finish in the top half of the table. Fantastic. But though, can they push on and get playoffs? You never know, especially with a team in the playoffs that no one would have even expected to be there, which we will get to very shortly. 11th, Millwall. Not a bad season for Millwall, to be fair. They were probably never going to get playoffs, you know, and it figured in the end finishing 15 points off it. But I mean, a good solid season for them. Can they push on as well? You never know. You never know. But I think they might do. They might finish maybe higher than what they might do next season. 10th is Middlesbrough, a team who should be around playoffs easily. Easily, they should be under Neil Warnock. They didn't win in the last two games, which was a bit of a downfall for them. But I think if he can bring in maybe a couple of decent players to the squad, Neil Warnock's got the pedigree of, you know, bringing clubs up, but then not really doing too well in the Premier League sometimes, but he's very good at getting teams up, and I do think that could be a big factor for Middlesbrough in the next couple of years. Ninth, Queen's Park Rangers. I was not expecting them to finish ninth place. The last they were in the Premier League a few years ago, where they didn't actually have a bad team. They had Adel Taarabt, Alejandro Forlín, Stephen Colker, Robert Green, etc., etc. And but yeah, man, they won their last two games of this season. They were, they could have actually finished a bit better if they hadn't lost to Rotherham. If they hadn't lost to Rotherham, they would have actually finished seventh. So, like, it just shows that what one defeat can do to you. Eighth was Cardiff City. They were actually looking like a main stake for playoffs, but they drew so many games. They drew to Blackburn, they drew to Reading, they drew to Brentford, which was actually a decent result. They beat Cardiff and Birmingham, and then they drew to Rotherham on the final day. Okay, yeah, they were never getting playoffs on the final day anyway, but they did draw too many games. Seventh were Reading. They started the season incredibly well as well, just like Bristol City did, but they kept it consistent. But they kept it consistent. They didn't win since the 5th of April. They went 1, 2, 3, 4. They went 6 games without a win, is which faltered their charge for playoffs. If they could keep Joao, Ajera, Elise, all those players, then they will be definitely back up there next season. 6th was Bournemouth. They went down last season. Eddie Howe left, and they've done worse than I expected. I did expect them to finish in the top 2 with Norwich, but they lost their final 3 games of the season. If they had won them, they would have finished 4th, which would have been a better expectation for them. But still, they are in the playoffs. Will they be the team to go up? 5th, Barnsley. You're probably all thinking, Barnsley? They were in the Championship, but Ollie did mention them from 24th upwards. No, man, because they finished in the playoffs. They were on an incredible run. When they played Chelsea in the FA Cup, and they only lost 1-0, they were actually 3 games unbeaten, but then they went on an incredible 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, 10 game unbeaten run where they only drew once since the Chelsea game. But they were actually already on a 13 match in total before they lost. And they lost to Sheffield Wednesday. If they had won that one, But I mean, from the Chelsea game, they had technically from January when they played Watford, they only actually lost 3 games: Sheffield Wednesday, Coventry, and Preston. So yeah, man, they deserve to be in it, and I would love to see Barnsley, Oakwell in the Premier League next season. Okay, yeah, they will probably go straight back down, but it would be brilliant to see that for one season. It would be magnificent. 4th, Swansea City. Used to be even the Premier League. They had great players, so Ayew, Routledge, other Angel Rangel, a lot of decent players. Now could this be their chance in the playoffs? That they just need this luck. They've not had a bad season at all. A bit of inconsistent performances towards the end of the season, but they are there. 3rd, my favourites to go up, just like they were last season before they lost in the playoff final to Fulham, Brentford. They finished 4 points off an automatic promotion space. Ivan Toney was incredible. 31 goals for this season. He finished with 10 assists, 41 contributions all season. You know, he was absolutely fantastic. You know, he was top scorer in the championship, and he needs to carry that over now into the playoffs. And if they, I would love to see Brentford Barnsley final, because then I've got then two teams who I wouldn't mind to see. I don't want to see Bournemouth again. I want to see someone new. Okay, yeah, Watford and Norwich both went down last season, but they're coming straight back up. But they, you know, Norwich ultimately deserved it. And yeah, man, I would have liked to have seen maybe like Barnsley or Reading or someone get like automatic promotion and come back up, but it's not the way. Second, Watford, they finished as runners up, 6 points off Norwich, and yeah, they are coming straight back up into the Premier League. Well done to them. They were fantastic. It could have been a lot closer, but they did lose to Brentford and Luton, which did ultimately give Norwich the title as well. And first was Norwich City. They finished first. You know, when they beat Huddersfield 7-0, then I think Derby 1-0. They won the league, and then they lost 2 on the bounce to Bournemouth and Watford. You know, which couldn't get them into double figures, which was unfortunate. But they are back under Daniel Farke, Timu Pukki, Todd Cantwell, Buendia. They are all coming back into the Premier League. So that has been my Championship 2020-21 review. If you agree with me with wanting Brentford, or you think Brentford will go up, or whoever you think will win the playoffs, please comment it in the comment section down below. And what do you think will happen for next season as well in the Championship, because there's still one more spot to fill with the League One playoffs. Well, anyway, I've been Oliver James, and join me for the next one. And until then, bye bye for now.